My name is Simon Imhäuser and I'm a professional calisthenics athlete within statics and freestyle. And besides me, we have Max True, the god of reps.
Hello guys, my name is Max True. I'm a multiple Guinness record holder in muscle ups. Right now we're gonna answer a few interesting questions for the beginners.
Let's get started. So, how do you start with calisthenics? First off, I would say it depends on what your end goal is. Like I said, I'm statics, you're more towards the reps. But at the end of the day, the common exercises are usually push-ups, pull-ups, dips, I would say, and it doesn't really matter which path you're pursuing, they are always good to have that baseline with.
Yes, so anyway, you should be prepared, your muscles should be prepared for the harder stuff. Anyway, you should do basic. And then you will probably understand what you like. Maybe you want to move towards endurance and strength, or maybe you want to move to this freestyle stuff, statics.
And the beauty with these exercises as well is when you start early, you gain good body control, connection with how do I actually use my body to perform exercises. And most of them you can always add progressive overload, which basically means you can make it harder. So if you have push-ups, you can add a weight vest. If you do pull-ups, you can add weights in the dip belt and always increase the weight. The same applies for dip. And at the end of the day, you can also always increase the amount of reps. So no matter which exercise you're doing, you can always make it harder as you're getting stronger, which is really good for a beginner because then it's a pretty clear path on how do I actually pursue my calisthenics and always improve.
Yeah, you can make it not even harder, but more interesting. That's very important for the beginning while you are getting into the sport.
A common mistake, especially towards the static and skill training, since that's my professionality, is that beginners jump a bit too quick on the major things. Calisthenics can definitely be a really smooth path and you check off different skills as you get stronger. But if you jump too quick on your end goal or your main skill that you really want to learn, you may skip a lot of foundations that are super helpful, both for injury purposes, but also for you to have enough strength. And what happens is, if you jump too quick, it's going to take a really long time to progress because you start from almost scratch. Whereas if you always had the foundation, gaining more strength, when you then start to train the skill, it's going to go way faster because you have the foundational strength for it already.
Exercises like human flex or planche or other stuff requires proper technique. Without proper technique, you won't be able to do them, but without strength, it's impossible to do it anyways.
And then also another mistake with skill training is that it's a big difference between strength and then how your muscle connection is. Something you will understand as you start to train more is that getting really strong, that is one part. But this doesn't necessarily mean that all the strong guys in the gym will be able to do a planche. They won't be able to do a front lever because you also need to teach your body how to perform these skills. So if you want to learn these skills, know that you need to combine gaining more strength, but also spending a lot of time to work on the actual skills. So if you're doing handstand, it's about being a lot of time upside down. If you're training for front lever, it's about being in the tuck position already, an easier progression that you can start really early on in your journey, but it at least teaches your body how to activate the body in order to hold the skill, which is also really important.
Another thing that's really important, you should understand your type of your body parameters like height, weight, and depending on it, you shouldn't compare with the strongest guys on social media, because for someone it's much easier to do. They are learning much faster. You should understand that and working on the big part.
What are the best exercises for beginners? I think this also really depends on where you want to go. Within calisthenics, it's a big push and pull category, I would say, both for endurance and also for skills. Pull is more front lever, we have the pull-ups, muscle-ups. For push, you have more planche, handstand, dips. It really comes down to which path you want to pursue, or maybe you want to do a combination of both. But for beginner level, we can always do dips and push-ups as well for the pushing part. And both of them, you can start with resistance band, get some extra help, and then gain strength. And that will transfer a lot to other push elements. And the same applies for pull-ups, also really easy to add resistance band, get some help, and then that strength would transfer a lot to other pull elements within calisthenics.
I would say those exercises you mentioned, they are very important even on the high level.
Yeah.
These exercises will stay with you forever. They are very important. And for example, in strength and endurance competition, you will do probably mostly them. Also, I would recommend you spend some time on the legs. It's very important. It's very important for your general feelings, for your body recovering, and for your life in general.
Legs is definitely a big discussion within calisthenics. If you're completely new, you might not know it, but a really big discussion of should you train legs, how much focus should you put on it, and that also really comes down to which skills and level you want to reach. Me personally, I do compete in freestyle, I do statics, and for me it's about having good connection with my leg, but then you also have the physical factor that the more weight I have, definitely the harder it's gonna be. So training for strength, but not necessarily gaining too much mass is what I prefer for legs. But then if you do endurance and stuff, you definitely compete with legs as well, like squats and these factors.
But anyways, endurance, you don't need big mass, mostly body weighted exercises like jumping or simple squats. Anyway, it's hard to gain big legs without additional weight.
Now, what is the recommended equipment for beginners? I also think this definitely depends on what your main focus is. Me as a static athlete, I do spend a lot of time inside the gym, and there's two equipments that are like, I can do almost everything. One being dip bars. If you had them, you can do dips, you can eventually do handstand, you can do Australian pull-ups, you can do tuck front lever, you can use resistance band, do stuff, and really versatile. And then the other equipment is lower set of parallettes. It can be, close to the ground or slightly higher up. But the main thing there is that you can do planche stuff, you can do push-up variations, you can do pike push-ups with them, you can do a lot of broad things. I would say those are the two main equipment style. And then the other thing that's also just really nice to have throughout the whole journey is resistance bands. They can be used for warm-up, or like you mentioned with recovery. Instead of just laying in the sofa, you can use a resistance band on the rest days, just get some blood flow, higher recovery. And then you can also use it for progressions in statics. You can use it for some extra help in pull-ups, dips. Yeah, you hear me. I just keep on talking because there's so much you can do with them. And really simple equipment, and you can add them throughout your whole career, which is also really nice. So you buy them in the beginning and then you can always use them.
For the strength and endurance athlete, I would recommend the thing you must have is pull-up bar. If you have something around your area, it's good. You can get like dips bar, but without pull-up bar, it's almost impossible to achieve competitive level. Apart from that, you can use floor. It's enough for the push exercises. But of course, it's better to have a dips bar. So pull-up and dips bar, this is what I recommend for you. Common question: how often should I train per week? So from my perspective, you can start with 3 workouts per week. Of course, not all the workouts should be like super hard. You can start with 1 hard and 2 simple like deload workouts to recover your body, because from my experience, when you just like lying on the sofa doing nothing, your body recovers much slower. It's better to do some activity. When your blood flows through your body, delivers all the necessary components, so you are recovering much faster. Then after maybe few months, when you started feeling, then you are able to handle these 3 workouts. You can add even 4th, and in general, I would say this is enough. 3-4 workouts from my perspective. Hard to say about the freestyle and statics.
Yeah, but I would say that it's pretty similar there as well. And as a complete beginner, I also want to really highlight the importance of fitting training into your life. If you come from a daily life without any training, just making time for the training is definitely something that will require some effort in the beginning. So make it easy on yourself. Start with a few training sessions per week that really feels accomplishable. And then when you get that into routine, you feel like, oh, I have more time, then you can add more. And then you definitely don't need to go to like 6-7 times per week, because the chance of getting overtraining and injuries definitely increase with that. But like we said, like around 4 times, I would say 4 to 5 for statics if you split it in push and pull and maybe add legs as well. you can go up to 4 to 5, but more than that, like, I don't know how often you train, but I'm like maximum 5 times per week currently.
For me, 7, but
Yeah.
yeah, almost every day. And another maybe tip for you, you should like expect very hard workout all the day. You can maybe, if you very tired, you can just go to workout and like plan something small, simple, easy. And for me, usually it happens when you expect it not really efficient workout. You're starting and then you feeling that you can do much more than you thought about. The most important thing is just keep your schedule, just not miss workouts, and you will see that progress will reach you fast.
So the big question, how long does it take to see progress? And the truth is this will vary a lot depending on who you are and what you're training for. But if you're a beginner, you start training the basics that we mentioned, the pull-ups, the dips, the stuff, you should be able to see some results after 1 to 2 months with just strength, connection, maybe even see a little bit on the body shape. Then when it comes to skills, increasing in numbers, those things, like, it's a pretty slow progress, I will tell you that. But if you make it enjoyable, which I would say is the key thing to long-term success, and you start also to filming and recording your training sessions, you will understand that a lot of things happen. Me personally, I can train for 1 year, feel like I am at the same place, but then I will look back 1 year, look on a video, and there will be massive results. Because if you just train constantly, you see almost nothing from one session to another. You can become almost blind of success and progress. But if you record yourself, you will definitely see some progress within 1 to 2 months. And you also gotta be honest with yourself. Like in the beginning, it can be easy to think that you're giving it your all, but if you stick to the plan, you train like you should, you eat relatively well, you should definitely be able to see those results.
Exactly, so because when you haven't done any kind of sport, it may be even hard to believe that your body can change so fast. So it's very important to keep going for, Simon says, few months. For the first time, it's hard to see the changes, but after that, you definitely will see, and you will enjoy it. And as soon as you enjoy it, it will be hard to drop. So yeah, the most important thing is keep going for a few months. Then it will be much easier.
Because as a beginner, you're starting off with really no belief, no proof that your body will gain results from the work you're putting in. But the moment you do see results, you're gonna understand that, okay, I can work without any gratification, or instant gratification at least, and then wait for a period of time, and then boom, the results will be shown. And just from experience, you are gonna have times where you're working really, really hard without seeing any progress. But then at some point, everything pays off. So you're just really gonna hang in there long enough to see the progress. And if you're ever doubting that the progress isn't showing, even though you've been putting in the work, like if you are honest with yourself and you know that you've been training, you've been eating, you've been sleeping enough, progress will come. Like, there's just no doubt about it. It's just a matter of time.
Yeah, for me, it's also interesting to see people when they are surprised, realize that simple thing like diet can change your body significantly in short term. You'll be definitely surprised what your body can do. How do I set realistic goals? So you shouldn't be focused right now at that moment on the records or to be the winner of the competition. I would recommend you to compare yourself with previous version of yourself. So just record your progress, track everything, track your body composition, track your muscles, track how you look like, your results in the exercises, and this stuff will help you with slow step achieve much bigger goals. In few years, you will be able to compete with the strongest guys on this planet. But you should be consistent and keep going. So you should make smaller goals, which like realistically to achieve in few months or in a year, and it will help you mentally a lot.
I also want to give you a life hack when it comes to long-term success. You can of course have goals such as planche, front lever, you want to achieve 20 muscle ups in a row. Those things are really great, but it's really hard to set a fixed date or time schedule on how long it will take, because it varies a lot. Even though you can compare with other people in the past, you might have an estimate knowledge of how long it should take, it's still really hard. So I would recommend you to have those as sort of your dream stuff you want to move towards. You make the scheduling, your training, move towards them. But when it comes to your goals, make them more clear, like more specific. And what I mean by this is saying like, I am gonna train 4 times per week for the upcoming year. That is extremely clear. Like you can't miss it, which means that if you have those goals, you know exactly what to do. If you tell people what you're gonna do, they also know exactly what you're gonna do. And ultimately that means that you are gonna progress in the right direction. But it's so clear that it can't be wrong. And that's what I want you to focus on. Have goals for yourself that makes you extremely consistent. And then back to also the thing I said about enjoying the training, definitely part of it. And then you are gonna move towards the end goal where you wanna be.
And of course you can adjust your goals during your preparation. And don't make such mistakes like some beginners, when they achieve, for example, 20 pull-ups in 3 months, they think that they will be able to achieve 40 pull-ups in next 3 months, but it doesn't work like that. So you should understand that progress will slow down. So you should understand how your body reacts on your workouts and adjust according to that. How can I motivate myself when progress stops or slows down? From my perspective, you should understand that the progress is not the only thing that you will get from the workouts. Yeah, of course, at some level, even to keep yourself on the same level is very hard. It's very hard and takes a lot of time. But at the same time, you're achieving the health, you're achieving their overall feeling, you're achieving aesthetics. I would say it also helps in your daily life. Like for me, I'm a software engineer, and for me it helps a lot during the solving of hard tasks. You can make break, just do some exercises, and when you come back it's much easier to think because you like rebooted your body. And so apart from the progress in general, you have a lot of side effects, positive side effects. If you want only progress, you should understand that it's hard to progress infinite time. Probably it's at that time you should try to understand maybe you can change something in your workouts, in how you rest between workouts, maybe add different exercises, maybe you can set something in your food. You can try to go from different perspective, from different direction, and see how your body reacts on that.
Like on the motivation part, I think it's all, if you're complete beginner, you don't have any proof that you're gonna see success. But if you've seen some progress at one point, just have that in mind. I know it's going to be really hard when you're not seeing progress at all and everything feels just like you're doing so much and not getting anything in return. But if you once got some progress, have that in mind that it will happen again. The body is pretty simple in the sense that what you put in, you usually get back. And nothing is really going to change unless you have other things around you really changing, like the diet and the sleep and recovery part. So that's the first thing. If you just know that you're hanging long enough, you will get progress. The other thing, the third time probably I mentioned it, is if you enjoy training, there's more to it than just progress. And like you said as well, like there's so much more to training. If you make it a lifestyle, a routine, almost a habit that you really need for yourself, not just because you're pursuing a goal or really want to get somewhere at the end point, because once you get there, what are you gonna do? Like when I reached my first planche, it wasn't like I stopped. I just kept doing because I started to just love the training, love the showing up, love the hustle. And also there is a reason why not everyone are succeeding, which is a motivator for me sometimes, is that when I know things are really harsh, when I'm training hard, there's just not a lot of motivation there. I know that this is the same for everyone. And that is why if you push through it, you are gonna stand out. You are gonna go slightly ahead of the rest because you're doing something special that just the body isn't obvious, or it isn't obvious to the mind to perform. At the end of the day, I think find enjoyment around training. Don't rely on motivation. I know everyone says that, but it's really about finding a way that fits you, make it a habit that you just crave. And then the progress, it's always nice to see, But if you just love showing up, you will always have progress as a side effect or side result of it.
Thank you, guys. We were glad to share the information with you. Thanks, Simon.
Thank you. And thank you for everyone sticking around. It's a clear sign that you're really committed to what you're doing. And we're super happy to have another calisthenics athlete joining our community. See you in the next one.